On February 24th, 2020, a date in Los Angeles we referred to as 2/24/20, after the jersey numbers of Gianna Bryant, Kobe Bryant, and the number of seasons Kobe played for the Los Angeles Lakers, I was fortunate enough to attend the memorial for Kobe and Gianna at Staples Center. In this episode, we take a Sports Stories unique look at a celebration of life, and we bring you part 3 of our interview with Laker broadcaster Chris McGee. I'm a Venice, California-born, Los Angeles-based sports fan, one that has played, coached, announced, and promoted sports my whole life. My love affair with sports started in my own backyard and has led me to this podcast. Thanks to the support of the Amateur Athletic Union in East Bay, I'm excited to bring you Sports Stories with Denny Lennon. Hello, sports historians. First, a note, this introduction is being recorded the day after the Celebration of Life Memorial for Kobe and Gianna Bryant. I attended that with Sports Stories lead researcher and lifelong Laker fan Theresa Dahlin. Chris McGee, the Laker broadcaster, who's our guest today, was also there. He worked the event for Sportsnet, the regional network that carries the Lakers. This is the third and final installment of our interview with Geeter. I want to remind viewers and listeners that the interview with Geeter was recorded 3 days prior to the helicopter accident. Okay, the producer today is Marley Rice, also a lifelong Laker fan. Hi, Marley.
Hi, guys. Just a reminder to everyone out there, you can also watch these on YouTube where we have pictures and videos that go along with these amazing stories. This one in particular is especially great as we have original footage of the memorial that Denny and Theresa got to attend.
So this introduction's not easy, most of all because it ties into being a husband and a father. Kobe was doing both of those especially well when he died on January 26. The last public memorial I attended in Los Angeles was about 10 years ago, in 2010, and it was for another basketball legend, UCLA coach John Wooden. That, of course, was expected given that Coach was 99 years old. This, of course, was not expected. Kobe was only 41. I coached basketball in both middle and high school for over 35 years. Marley was on a few of those teams. And there are two things that all my teams knew. Who was the greatest coach ever, Marley?
John Wooden.
Yep, and the greatest pro franchise ever?
The Los Angeles Lakers.
That's right. So for as long as I can remember, I've loved the Lakers. As a child, I followed that 1972 team that won the NBA championship, the first for the franchise in Los Angeles. As a teenager and into my years as a young adult, it was the Showtime Lakers, winning 5 NBA championships in the 1980s. And then as a family man, it was the Kobe Lakers, who won 5 more titles in the 2000s. Between 1980 and 2010, the Lakers played in 16 NBA finals and won 10 championships. This city is a Laker city. It was exactly because I'd become a husband and a father as Kobe rose to stardom in the pros that I had conflicted and complicated feelings about Kobe. By the late 90s, Kobe was my son Vaughn's favorite player. Vaughn wore number 8 and played imaginary games on the backyard hoop. Vaughn and I watched Kobe pull off a 360 dunk at Staples. My wife Christina and I would yell at the TV and plead with Kobe to save us and pull out another victory for their Lakers. But how is it that this player, as great as he was, had millions in this city mourning and paying tributes across the Southland? It's unlike anything this city's seen. The 20,000 mourners that assembled yesterday to line up and enter into Staples for the memorial were dressed like they were going to a playoff game, but they were solemn and respectful, and everybody was feeling together. The scene was surreal, especially with the helicopters hovering above. Bill Plaschke is a columnist for the LA Times. He'll tell you this is a Laker town. Plaschke is the voice of LA when it comes to sports. He's been named Sports Columnist of the Year 7 times, and he has a handle on just how important the Lakers are to LA. Plaschke wrote 2 articles recently, one on Sunday, the day before the memorial, and one today, the day after. Plaschke wrote, "What is it about Kobe Bryant's loss that affected so many different people so dramatically? Far from the type of icon normally mourned by millions, Kobe Bryant was but a basketball player. Maybe it's because, for better or worse, over nearly a quarter century, this basketball player was ours. For a generous portion of our lives, Bryant reflected the city's work ethic, mirrored its toughness, mimicked its drama, matched its glitz. He set an NBA record by playing 20 years for one team in one town, the most popular team, and he did so with a narrative arc that was equal parts Hacienda Heights and Hollywood. He represented something for everyone because he was human as anyone. The most famous, frailty-ridden sports star in the city's history, and together, we rode his wave. Inside, Staples looked like it never looked before. The 24 by 24 foot stage, the roses, the lighting, it was all just right. The speakers of the event were spot on. And what came through most was a tribute to Kobe as a man after he retired. The girl dad was, to me, a more impressive man than he was a basketball player, and that is saying something. Most impressive of the speakers was Vanessa Bryant. I go back to Plaschke, who wrote in today's LA Times, "For 2 decades, Kobe Bryant owned the Staples Center court with courage under pressure. For 7 minutes Monday morning, Vanessa Bryant did the same. Where he once amazingly flew, she stood strongly still. Where he once pumped a fist in triumph, she clutched a tissue in survival. But with the same determined grace her late husband repeatedly showed in virtually the same midcourt spot she stood, she pushed through the pain to share intimate stories of laughter and love. Earlier in their marriage, their relationship endured a tough time that included Bryant's public confession of cheating, a sexual assault charge that was eventually dropped, and a divorce filing by Vanessa that was later withdrawn. To hear her speak of him in such glowing terms was powerful and healing. It completed the narrative that Bryant's life had a fulfilling second chapter. It delivered a compelling message about the strength of forgiveness. I was moved by Alicia Keys playing Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, a song Kobe taught himself to play for Vanessa. That's just incredible. Alicia, who grew up without a father in Hell's Kitchen, made a beautiful statement without uttering a word. I was also inspired by Oregon's women's basketball player Sabrina Ionescu. Kobe and Gianna had forged a really close relationship with her. She gave a very moving tribute, and part of what she said was this: "I want to be part of the generation that changed basketball, where being born female didn't mean being born behind, where greatness wasn't divided by gender." Then she pulled an ultimate Kobe. Sabrina, emotionally drained and ignoring the fact that she had the flu, hopped on a plane for Stanford, notched her NCAA record 26 career triple-double. She also became the first ever collegiate player, no gender division here, to record 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 1,000 assists in a career. I'm going to conclude with another quote from the great Bill Plaschke. In retirement, his impact didn't diminish, it only changed. He was still here, still that wallpaper. Only now his competitiveness was not only about winning basketball games, but improving the world. He became a champion of women's empowerment, an anonymous philanthropist. In losing him, Los Angeles lost a bit of its soul. And so we grieve, and we remember. And perhaps, through this pain, we will grow. For the drop this week, I present the performers and speakers from the Celebration of Life. Jimmy Kimmel, Beyonce Knowles, Vanessa Bryant, Diana Taurasi, Sabrina Ionescu, Gino Auriemma, Rob Pelinka, Alicia Keys, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Christina Aguilera. Now it's time for Laker broadcaster Chris McGee, who made us all so proud with his anchoring of this tragedy from the day of the accident to the memorial a month later. Let's show the pre-interview shot one more time, basically because he hit it under pressure just like Kobe would have.
Bucket. 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 It was already down.
So from the 7428 studio in the shadow of LAX, here is part 3 of a 3-part interview with Laker broadcaster Chris Geeter McGee. Please note that this interview with Chris McGee was recorded January 23rd, 2020, 3 days prior to the death of Kobe Bryant and 8 others. So wait, around this time now, you're married?
Got married in 04, but
04? Okay.
started dating Jess in 2000. So I had a couple years of announcing. I mean, I was
Under your belt.
26,
Yeah.
27. It was then when I went to do a class in 99 at Santa Monica City College with Lou Riggs.
Uh-huh.
So I started TV at 28 years old.
I love that you were a Corsair for a short time.
Yeah, I mean, I was – where?
Corsairs. Santa Monica College?
Yeah. That's their name, the Corsairs?
Yeah.
Of course you know that.
Well, I went there for 10 years.
Yeah.
I put in my 10 years, got my associate arts
Dude,
degree.
I was the oldest guy in the class. Me, Lee LeGrand, and Dane Blanton, another
Oh,
volleyball
boy.
names. We went to that and took a little broadcasting class, and it
So-
set me on my way.
Something about that hit me too. I heard you talking somewhere, and it's another thing where I was like, "Yep, that's exactly what I tell those that are starting
Yeah.
families. Always say yes to your kids when they want to play.
Yeah.
Like, don't be the one who drives them into the sport. Don't be the
Yeah.
one who puts all the pressure. But the second they say, "Hey, you want to go pepper? Hey, do you want to go play?"
Yeah.
No matter what your situation is,
Yes.
your answer is
Yeah, that was always my rules. Like, if they want to bump or pepper, or they call it bumping, and they're little. You want to bump the ball? Yes. But I would do some funny things like, I'd be hearing.
Would you introduce them?
No, I'd see Millie down the hall. This is when she was younger, and I just kind of like roll the ball. Pretend I didn't, and all of a sudden the ball would be there, and she'd see it, be like, "Daddy, you want to bump? Sure, let's go." So there's a way you can, you kind of
I used to,
manipulate the situation.
I think I told the story in the podcast that just aired recently. My son Vaughn, when he was little, loved wrestling, and he would put on a Hawaiian shirt, but he'd keep it open, and he called himself Tropical Storm.
Oh,
He'd
my
go, Dad, introduce me. And then he would go out, and then I would go through this long introduction.
Yeah.
And now welcome to the front room,
That's so
Tropical.
funny.
And then he would fight some pillow for a while.
Now,
but it's
by
these
the way-
kind of things that you want your children, you don't want to push your children into the you have to win and be great at this. You want to push them into this is fun.
Wasn't Vaughn a stud volleyball player?
Oh, yeah. He was really good.
Loyola?
Loyola won a couple titles there.
Yeah,
and then,
right?
UC San Diego.
UC San Diego.
He destroyed BYU for like a national record, or at the time, UCSD record amount of kills.
Was Vaughn?
Got National Player of the Week. The whole
Where
thing.
did I see Vaughn playing recently? I'll tell you where we were.
Playing golf, probably.
No.
Because he's in commercial real estate. So
No, I thought we were at the beach. Does he go down to Del Mar
he does
in
sometimes,
September
yeah.
with the Bullies?
Yes, he probably
We
does.
all played a game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So I just liked hearing that. It sounds. One of the things I'd always say to my kids when I was coaching them, when they'd ask about the game, is, "You want me to talk like a dad or like a coach?"
Oh, I like that.
So I gave them the power to. And as a dad, my point was be a good team member, have good sportsmanship.
That's good.
But then as a coach, it's like, yeah, I would have taken you out too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you've strode that line, although there's a couple of us that are
Getting
in the
tougher.
room, including my producer, who might notice that there was one parent on the exclusive and elite AAU beach volleyball tour that might come into the tent to check out the seeds.
By the way,
see who's
do you know how
playing
many
in
I've
the brackets.
fixed? I have fixed 2 in my lifetime, both last year, back-to-backers. One was USA Volleyball.
Of course.
They did it wrong. I knew it. What are you supposed to do?
Lay back and let it play.
Nope. Told them.
Send your daughter in to make the change.
So, yeah. So, and then one time I had to go to Christine. It wasn't, Christine was sitting there, I believe. And I was like, they had us third in the pool, and we were first in the pool.
Love it.
So,
Okay, that's fair.
It's
Good for you.
It's different.
I
mean,
I
to
like
me, I'm
giving
like,
you a hard
but
time.
they had us losing a game instead of winning. The girl, it's a 11-year-old girl wrote down the wrong score. So I'm like, God, how are we? So I had to go say like, what? And I just showed, actually first. So, definitely, it's a curse.
And your
It's
daughter.
a curse knowing what bracket's going to, I know it before everybody else. It's amazing.
Daughter carries on traits, if not curses, in the pregame meetings. She has plenty to say about lots of things. So 2006, 2008, that whole range, you start getting play-by-play jobs? How did you make the transition
before that, actually,
from a MC guy to a play-by-play guy? How did that happen?
So in 2000, 2001, I'm starting to get some play-by-play stuff with CSTV, which is now CBS College Sports, doing like a women's basketball game, a lot of women's volleyball, 2002, 2003. 2004, Fox Sports West names me the play-by-play for women's volleyball Pac-10. Did that for a year. Then the next year they're giving me high school football. So I was the high school football play-by-play. So then all of a sudden that's when the ball starts rolling. So I would say 05 is when 04, 05, ball's rolling. By 06, now it's really rolling. Sideline reporting, A lot of play-by-play, and it was 2006 that I quit my athletic director teaching job.
Got it. And you were AD
And I went,
at what school?
Wildwood.
At Wildwood.
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
So I
Okay.
left, and I was 35 years old. Basically said I'm doing TV full-time at 35.
Way to go.
Yeah.
That's following.
It was definitely a leap of
following,
faith.
yeah.
Leap of faith, man.
I get that.
I mean,
I get it.
talk about betting on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know. I don't know if it's stupid
in
or
the
not.
same
but
world right
it
now.
worked, but yeah, it was like I said, I had a lot of, at that time, Fox Sports had Pac-10. They had the Dodgers, they had the Angels, they had the Lakers, they had the Clippers. So there was tons to do, and I was on one of their guys that they used for everything. So I got a lot of gigs, and then ESPN, I started doing some stuff. CBS College Sports. There's all of a sudden the Longhorn Network starts in 2011, and I have an in because Jarrett's the coach. So I was doing everything, anything I could.
What led to the Laker job? How did that leapfrog there?
So they started their own network, Time Warner Cable Sports at the time, started a new regional sports network, and they left Fox Sports. And I was full-time when it happened with Fox West.
Okay.
And in that time, they started kind of recruiting me a little bit, and I was maybe more going to leave and do sideline for the Lakers. Little did I know that they were never really going to offer me because they didn't think I would leave a big job to go just sideline. I didn't know that. My bosses told me later.
And you've always been a Laker fan.
Always been a Laker fan, so I was like, oh, my God, this could be a huge opportunity. So I was kind of meeting with them on the side. And then all of a sudden, whoever they were, the network was going to start October 1st. This is in July. Whoever they were looking at.
What year, Geeter?
2012.
Okay.
Whoever they were looking at to be the host and the anchor, it fell through. And in that meeting, there were 6 people. And one of the guys was a guy named Jared Stacy, who just left our company. And he and I had worked together. And he just told the story when he left the company. He went over to Amazon to start their sports department. He told the story at his going away thing, and he talked about how relationships throughout the business are important, and how he and I were doing games on ESPN2 in the dead of winter in Idaho State versus who knows who, Utah State.
The Vandals.
And I would be the play-by-play with Holly McPeak as my analyst, and Jarrett was producing. And he's in that meeting, and he goes, Chris McGee can do that job. Oh. And all those guys were like, yeah. And they called Tim Harris at the Lakers because Tim was a big advocate of mine. They said, well, what would you think of Geeter for the hosting anchor job instead of sideline? And Tim said, absolutely. Next thing you know, I got a text from Tim saying, how would you like to be the face of the network instead?
Heck,
more money, no travel, happy wife. I was literally in Tahoe on a trip in July, and I was like, we all started celebrating. That's how I got the job. By the way, I hadn't done studio, but what do you say?
You say yes.
You say yes.
And well-deserved because, it's like when people go, wow, that comic actor can do drama.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course you can do that. You've done, in effect, that in a roundabout way for a long time.
It's acting. You find a way to do it and
then you come in and so now
I've learned
you're
a lot.
getting to sit with some of these guys that are the guys like D-Fish.
That's the thing that you'll probably
and James Worthy
understand the most is these guys that we loved in the 80s and the 70s. And, I'll never forget. I tell this story all the time to kids. We had this couch, and it was early, probably a month into the network. And on set was James, Byron, Kareem, and Rambus.
Wow.
And I'm doing like a talk with them. And my phone at the time, I had it in my pocket, and it was vibrating. Texts were going. People were watching and texting. It was pretty funny. And I'll never forget because a commercial break, and I look, and I see my brother's text, and it said, if I would have told you at 12 years old that you'd be sitting with
those guys,
Worthy, Kareem. Jeez. Oh, it was Magic, my favorite. It wasn't Rambus. And Magic, who was my all-time, he goes, you would have pissed your pants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that amazing. So I've always told that story.
You're like, I'm pissing my pants?
Yeah. So it was amazing.
Did it also come with that? Did the Galaxy come with that as well?
So yeah, because they're part of the network. Sparks are part of the network. So I had to learn how to host soccer, something I never played.
Was it tough going through the down years?
Yeah, brutal. You're the first face they see. Mm-hmm. For all these losing seasons, and Twitter's coming of age, and message boards and things I didn't really know about, and all of a sudden people are calling you a hack, and people are MFing you, and people also are saying nice things, but there's things out there.
Yeah.
And you start to go, whoa, like I'm a Laker fan, you know what I mean? So I had to really get through a lot of that, wearing it emotionally on air and learning how to get through that. And then when Luke was the coach, who's also a good friend of mine, and he's getting hammered and people are coming after, I had to really – last year was tough on me.
Mm-hmm.
Really tough.
Because LeBron came, and then –
yeah, and it was just a brutal year. He gets hurt, and everyone's blaming everybody and firing all the rumors, and Magic steps away, and it was just a brutal time. And I literally, like, my wife, I'll never forget talking last season. Like, she's like, "You're wearing this too much. Like, it's affecting you at home." And I'll never forget. It was April 9th. I stopped tweeting. The Lakers were done, and I walked away for a couple. I did the shows, but I stopped being emotionally. I detached a little bit emotionally. And I came back this season, and I've never felt like this before. I'm clear-headed. I'm not focused on wins or loss. I'm just calling what I see. I'm happy either way. Of course, I want them to win. Don't get me wrong. They're 35-9. It's like the greatest thing ever. It's the easiest job in the world when they're winning, and everyone's watching now. The ratings are sky high. But it was a mindset that changed for me.
When those things were going in the wrong direction, how much of it are you a journalist, and how much are you restricted? In other words, can you comment on Magic stepping away?
That's a great question. So one thing about the job that I have is you have to remember we are partners with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, they aren't the ones that pay me. The network pays me. Right. Those are my bosses, but we're partners with them.
By proxy, yeah.
And my job is to tell the truth, but also spin things in a good. I'm always going to try to find the positives and things, and that's just me by nature anyway. But when they're losing and they're winning 18 games, you got to also tell the truth. So I did a pretty good job of that. I always thought navigating through that. I think at the beginning it was hard, but we learned our way of how to have fun and tell the truth, be critical without hammering.
Sure.
So yeah, that time, by the way, didn't do one radio request. I shut everybody down. Not one TV request. I didn't do one thing on the Lakers. Didn't tweet. Didn't give an opinion from April 9th until training camp started.
Wow.
I stayed away.
So your head got clear.
By the way, it was the best thing ever. Like, what was I going to say on the radio? Only thing I could say would get me fired. Like, only thing I could do is make a mistake. Say something that maybe someone hears and goes, that didn't sound. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? I mean, I was frustrated. I was, my friend was gone. Also, Luke was gone, and the Lakers were in turmoil, and I had opinions, but I also said, like, dude, this is not my job to give an opinion on that. It really isn't. So step away, and I did.
One of the things.
And now it's a blast.
Hey guys, this is Marley, and I'm the producer. I finally got these guys to shut up for a second so we could do a commercial.
Of all the tequila joints in all the towns in all the world, you need to walk into Casablanca Restaurant in Venice, a proud sponsor of Sports Stories. When Carlos Haro Jr., the manager of Casablanca, was a young man, he made his mark in Venice at St. Mark's School, where he led his teams to several championships and was named the 1990 Athlete of the Year. As his coach in those days, whenever Carlos would score a hoop in basketball, I would immediately call for the team to play it again, Carlos. We even had one play called Here's Looking at You, Carlos, where we deceived the defense by making it look like we were going to give it to Carlos, then dropped it into Big Daddy Jeff Flores for the bucket. As time goes by, you'll want to round up the usual suspects and head to Casablanca Restaurant in Venice. Mention Sports Stories with Denny Lennon to either Carlos Sr. or Carlos Jr. and get a free dessert. Sports Stories in Casablanca Restaurant in Venice. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I often do is, because I've seen you there, is go to these hot yogas. And people
buddy.
across the country don't always understand, but it's like 115-degree room.
Yeah, it's
and
awesome.
You're lifting weights in there and you're doing this thing.
So
but
fun.
I went to one, and you're there, and so is Luke Walton.
Yeah.
And there comes a point where the instructor will go, okay, so how do your neighbor or high five your neighbor? And most of the time, nobody does.
Yeah.
They just kind of like stare down. And both of you like lit the room up. Like you turned around, and you're like high fiving three people. And Luke was acting like such a coach.
Oh yeah,
He's
Luke's
like, hey,
unbelievable.
good job over there. And I was like, wow, this is way
He's
better.
actually really fun to
when
work
you
out
have the
with.
announcer and
He's
coach
so
of the
fun.
Lakers.
He really is a great guy.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It was so funny. You guys lit the room up. I was like, we got the announcer and the coach of the Lakers.
I high five my neighbors today. That's funny you said that.
So today's sports.
Yeah.
You're watching your daughter, and you're watching, and you can look at it from your perspective.
Daughters, even my little one's starting to play stuff. Yeah. Luca.
Single sport athletes.
Yeah.
It's a tough time to be, I think, on some level as a young athlete because you get so much adult pressure to
Yeah.
focus on one sport.
Bums me out.
And there's a downside to it, which is that overuse syndrome.
Bums me out.
And then there's the downside mentally.
Yeah.
And how do you go about this with your youngsters? Let
Well-
alone you're in a position to speak to it.
Luca still plays basketball. She's in 3rd grade. Millie quit hoops after 4th, quit soccer after 4th, and went straight because now there's beach and indoor. And it's like, it bummed me out, I'll be honest with you, on a little bit of a level because I just miss it. I miss having those other sports. But it's crazy. It was like that's what she wanted to do, and there's not enough time to do them all. It's crazy now. So, like, I didn't know the beach would hit like this, where it becomes all summer. There's major tournaments, and it affects your travel schedule with your friends. It's. I mean, our lives the last couple of years have been built around, and it's insane, really, to think about it like that. So it is. You hit it on the head. There's some downsides to it, and it's funny. Like, I have girls that I know that are training 3 days a week indoor, 2-3 days a week beach, and I'm like, and they're like, well, how come Millie's not in a beach club yet? And I'm like, because she's playing indoor club. And she plays tournaments on the weekends, or she'll train once in a while with Patty or Holly or whatever, and it's cool. She's 12.
It's an interesting landscape out there because I think what eventually has to happen is there's already plenty of data on the overuse syndrome.
Yep.
But it seems like there's almost going to have to be a generation that grows up from being overused that then stops the next generation from being overused because that's really what it is. They're wearing down those muscles that they use repetitively.
I don't want my oldest to burn out.
Too many ribs.
And it scares me, and I want it to still be fun, and so I battle back and forth with it because like, where do you draw the line on a lesson or a private or a semi or something because she wants to go? I don't know. I battle with it, and you guys are in it, and you see it. AAU tournaments, CBVAs, whatever, like you guys see it more than anybody. We're in the hotbed of it. So for people that listen to this outside of Southern California,
you would understand football in Texas. You would understand basketball in Indiana
at a young
Kentucky
age.
At that young age, like because you're in pads at 5 years old in Texas.
It's like Little League, man. People are out there, and the parents are, and they're fighting for partners.
But out here, out here in Southern California, it's volleyball.
It's volleyball. It's volleyball for girls especially.
For girls especially,
and it's a lot of parents that are like, where we live in a society where it's like you want everything now. I want to keep up with the Joneses. Oh, this person's training. I've had so many. Oh my God, they're training here. She looks so good, and I'm like, I try to tell these parents. I'm always like, guys, like everyone develops differently. You improve at your own rate. Like she's been playing a year, so she's obviously going to have a huge jump. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain. So I guess I'm kind of over trying to educate so many family friends of our family where I just go, I can't do it anymore.
You have a unique perspective in that you've probably interviewed, and certainly I've had multiple conversations with Kobe.
Yeah,
and
for
you're
sure.
close with Karai.
Yeah.
And these are two unbelievably transcendent players in their respective sports, but they both played a lot of sports growing up.
Carrie, too.
And Carrie, too.
I look at Carrie.
Yeah.
Carrie loved baseball, played hoops.
Right.
Played hoops in high school.
And that's something.
But also there wasn't the beach thing really for them back then, like too much. And that's,
you
would talk to Butch, and he'll say, Butch May, for those that don't know, that's Misty May Trainer's father. And Butch was a great volleyball mind and coach, and his wife and Barbara, they raised her on the courts. And, but it's funny. Butch is like, she doesn't have any really medals from 12 years old. There also wasn't that many opportunities.
No, there wasn't. So you're playing in adult tournaments.
Millionaire Friends played in 30 tournaments probably in 2019. Yeah. When you count AAU, CBVA,
all of them.
ABP.
Yeah.
It's a lot of tournaments.
Speaking of a tournament.
Yeah.
One that's a lot of fun that's unique to Southern California is the Manhattan, what's known as the Manhattan Six-Man, right? So that's beach volleyball, and it's adult. It used to be a lot more adult than it is now.
Now there's a junior one.
Moving down on it. But tell the listeners a little bit about Team Fletch.
Team Fletch started in 1995, and it was a group of friends from this area, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Santa Monica, the Palisades, and it was really just a group of guys that kind of, some grew up together, some played college together, and then we kind of came from different walks of life, and we created Team Fletch because we all loved the movie Fletch. We were all boys. And the Six-Man is a tournament, unlike any other, if you want to Google it and YouTube it, because you dress up in outfits. Right. So our outfits, because we all loved the Lakers, was Team Fletch. Remember in the dream sequence,
sequence.
he's a Laker with the fro. So
Yeah.
we all wore afros and Laker jerseys.
So
and it
good.
just started as like a group of us, and it just grew.
And
it
you
grew.
got some good players.
And
so,
we won.
So
we
you'd
won
be late, and
we've won 5 titles
everybody be watching you
in 20
late.
years.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Luke Walton would play for you.
And then as it grew, Luke came over, Richard Jefferson. We started
Yes.
getting NBA guys. Pete Carroll was on our team for a while. I mean, Kurt Rambis,
That's
James
so fun.
Worthy.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to make sure that got in. There's something I do want to explore. It's things like the Manhattan Six-Man, the Gillis, what we did with the Venice Backyard Championships, things like that.
It's a culture.
that it really brings people
Family.
together.
Yeah.
That in a unique way that everybody remembers. Tell me a little about Tour de Pier.
Tour de Pier is awesome. Heath and Mandy Gregory, a family in Manhattan Beach. Our kids go to school together. They were like everybody touched by the disease of cancer. Mandy lost her brother, and they ended up starting this foundation with 2 other families, the Hirschbergs, the Mannheims, and also losing a parent and a sibling to cancer. And it was 7 years ago now. They had the first Tour de Pier, and it was spin bikes right by the Manhattan Beach Pier with a stage with instructors and 5 different hours. And you ride for 1 hour, so you get a team of 5 people, and you raise money for your bike. And each hour is a different theme: love, healing, whatever. And it just has grown to this. They made, I think, $300,000 the first year, $500 the next, $700. When I started emceeing it, the first year they cleared $1 million. Now they're up to $2 million a year. More and more people come in the community.
That's your 10%'s a lot bigger.
It's unreal. And now they do it in Seattle. Last year was the first year in Seattle.
That's great. What a
And
great
they
story.
raise money, and it is all. And but the people behind it, man, it's a year-round thing for them. I show up on the day, and I show up to the board meetings, and I'll help out. But they're the ones who really put the time and the effort into it and get behind it. And
But
Why Do You Ride is Why Do You Ride is their campaign, and it's I ride for my aunt who passed away from breast cancer. I ride for my brother who passed away. It's everybody's got a story.
People need a spokesperson.
With that disease.
Just like the venerable Lakers franchise.
Yeah,
the greatest
man.
in all the sports needs a spokesperson out
Need
front.
it.
They need it there. All right, so I'm going to keep you for a little bit longer.
Yep.
Not too much, because I know you got to go host.
We got a pregame
But
show.
You ready? Some rapid fire questions.
Love it.
And then a pop culture quiz, and I'll let you choose what you
Okay.
get. All right, so you
Gotcha.
ready?
Yep.
Rapid fire.
Yeah.
First pet.
Tiffany the dog.
First car.
Gold Dodge Omni. And when it died in the rain on Zelza Avenue, my sophomore year of college, the team made a card and gave it to me because the Dodge Omni was legendary.
Favorite sports team as a kid.
Lakers.
Nickname as a
Dodgers too.
kid. Nickname as a kid.
You know what? Geeter was the only nickname I ever had, and it started my junior year of high school.
Favorite board game.
Ooh. Dude, we used to play Risk.
Nice. That's a good pull.
Yeah.
Favorite main dish. Wait, I got to go back up. I got to
Ooh.
tell you something because you'll like it.
Yeah.
Mine, Stratomatic.
Oh, no. Was that? Oh, no. Can I change?
Do you know Stratomatic?
Stratomatic baseball. My brother and I
best
played
ever.
my whole childhood. Hold on. Stratomatic baseball.
I'm going to do a whole
No, I'm
investigative
done.
series.
Yeah. There should be a 30 for 30 on Stratomatic
Me and a
baseball.
friend of mine played almost an entire season.
It's why I know every
138
lineup for the
games.
Royals, Cardinals, Dodgers, and Yankees from
Crazy.
like
We got the
1975 to 80.
classic ones with the 27 Yanks and the 53
Yes.
Dodgers. Brilliant. Okay. I knew you'd like that.
Yep.
Favorite main dish.
Dude, that's
You can do it.
favorite main dish.
Mhm.
God, it's changed over the years. How about this? If they're gonna,
Yeah.
if it's my last supper,
Right. Exactly.
dude, I gotta go a fat steak.
I don't. That's my choice.
I gotta
Favorite
go fat
dessert.
steak with some mac and cheese.
Ooh.
Oh,
All right. Favorite dessert.
Mud pie.
Oh, I love it. Favorite movie.
Well,
I mean,
Fletch is up there, obviously. Hoosiers,
okay.
Shawshank Redemption. I got to give you just a couple different ones.
Favorite musical group.
Ooh, growing up, it was The Who and Cheap Trick. Now I've just really branched out. I love everyone, but I'd say like my favorite all-time band.
Mm-hmm.
Queen, man. I loved Queen growing up.
All right. Favorite author.
Ooh, Hemingway.
Favorite professional athlete?
Magic Johnson was my idol for many years.
Where'd you meet your wife?
Hermosa Open, 1997.
What was your first date?
2000. She graduated Santa Barbara. She was a little young then. She graduated Santa Barbara, started substitute teaching at Wildwood where I was at.
Okay.
And our first date was a triathlon. We watched the Kings Lakers, went to Good Stuff for lunch in Manhattan Beach, went to a movie that night.
Brilliant. What movie?
Don't even know. It was terrible. Ewan McGregor was in it. It was one of his worst.
What's your favorite word?
Gnarly.
What's your favorite quote?
When preparation meets opportunity.
That's luck. That's what they call it. Very good. Okay, you get one of 3 of the best television shows of all time as distinguished by the Sports Story staff. And then 3 questions. It's either going to be The Waltons. It was on CBS from 72 to 81. Emmys, Peabody. Right?
Yeah.
We know the story, right?
My favorite show is White Shadow.
Second choice, Magnum P.I., which is
Tom Selleck.
determined the
course.
top story.
Yeah.
I mean, the top show of all time.
Yep.
Or The White Shadow.
No way.
Yep.
White Shadow. A lot of people know. Didn't have a long run, right?
No, it did not, but it
did not have a-
groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking.
Let's see, what did I write about it? Retired pro
Ken
basketball
Reeves.
player takes over a predominantly black team in South Central Los Angeles. It's a groundbreaking drama created by Bruce Paltrow.
Oh, yeah. Gwyneth's dad.
Gwyneth's dad. He also did like St. Elsewhere.
Coach Reeves apparently tore his ACL with the Bulls and could never play again.
Wow,
remember?
you're beating. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
What was the name of the high school?
Carver.
Yep. For a bonus, name 3 of their players.
Well, the white guys were Salami, Goldstein, and Gomez. And then you have Jackson, Coolidge, Thorpe, Hayward.
You scored many. All right. What?
How'd I do?
That's so far so good. What NBA team did Ken Reeves play for?
Bulls.
Yeah. What college?
Oh! Whoa, was that ever in there?
Uh-huh.
Shoot.
I'll give you a hint.
Gosh darn it. How do I
give you a
not know
hint. The
this?
principal that hired him played at the same college with him.
Sybil Buchanan and the other guy. She was the principal after he left. Oh, man.
Good. This is solid.
Dude,
that's
you may have
bonus.
got. I'm texting my buddies after this because I'm pissed. I don't. Can you give me like is it a Cali school?
It's a Catholic school.
Is it? It's not not a California school?
Nope.
St. Joe's?
Boston College.
Darn it!
Yep. All right. What was the name of the character that played the vice president that Ken constantly clashed with?
Sybil
I
Buchanan.
mean, the vice principal, rather.
Sybil Buchanan was her name.
And this is a tough one. Can you name her real name?
No.
Joan Pringle. But
Darn it! I should be able. Yeah, you know why? Because back then it would like right across. That's a good
Ba-da-ba.
call by you.
Man, you did well.
Did I do
on
all right?
that. You did well on that. Hey, this was.
I love that you guys have that on the show. You guys.
Usually, I force Magnum down everybody's throat.
I know you
and They're
do.
like, what?
Dude,
And-
it's funny. Like I would know Magnum like that, and I loved Magnum. But I don't know, man. White Shadow and Fletcher.
I've
like
had
part of
2.
mine. I've gone
or
as
3
Coolidge for
different
Halloween.
Navy guys on and asked them, like, what branch of the military did Magnum serve for, and I'm like, he's your patron saint.
Dude, they didn't know.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
especially the one guy who runs the Heroes Movement. He said
That's so
he got
funny.
home to Michigan and he started watching it, and he would start texting me. He goes, "Dude, I'm so in deep.
I'm so
I love
hooked."
These guys. Yeah.
Magnum was
I
legendary.
love these guys. Hey, you're legendary. Legit
Been a
that
pleasure,
you came
guys.
by.
Pleasure.
Super
And I
appreciate
made
it,
my
Keeter.
jumper.
Yeah, and you knocked it.
Marley knew exactly where
I'm
to
gonna
put it,
get it.
though,
I'm
for me. I mean,
you know, I
right
think-
in my breadbasket.
I
dude.
think Boley's in France right now watching his son play, but when he gets back,
Hayden's over there.
yeah,
That's awesome.
so he took off for that. But when he gets back, it's gonna be my first text.
Geeter.
you know, at least-
17 feet probably.
at least Geeter hit a
right. I was a little
17-footer.
past the free throw line. Drained it
Love you, buddy. Thank
in
you.
motion. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So good.
That was fun.
Coming up next week on Sports Stories with Denny Lennon.
Next episode for Thursday, March 5th drop will be interview with Rock Pillsbury, the athletic director at Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, so we met up at Casablanca Restaurant, actually, to drive down the 20-mile, 3-hour drive maybe it took to get down there.
Oh, to Northridge.
Northridge. And we watched Sierra Canyon play, and man, are they freaking good.
Oh, they're really good. Multiple prospects, and they have LeBron James and Dwayne Wade's kids there,
Yeah.
but they have some prospects that
Man.
are just very significant. And not only does Rock care about the boys program, he cares about the girls program.
Yeah,
he
he
works
does.
really hard with the middle school program. They've had over 13 years, 12 state championships and 14 section titles.
crazy.
That's ridiculous. And
And
they
from
have
everywhere.
Yep, from all kinds of sports. And their boys will be in the Open Division Finals Friday night, and we'll be there.
We will be there covering that and the girls' game. We'll be at the girls' game.
Right, so Sierra Canyon plays Mater Dei in the boys' Open Division Final, and Windward, who we've been covering, especially their star freshman player, Juju Watkins. And that leads us to an interview that's coming up with the Windward Athletic Director, Tyrone Powell.
Yep, and can't wait for that one. And Windward, man, that is a good team. There, Juju Watkins is only a freshman, and she is just phenomenal.
In a line of great players.
WNBA.
Line of great players from Windward. Also, tomorrow is Thursday that this episode had just dropped, so you'll probably miss this, but I'm really excited because we got a big interview that we're doing over at the Coffee Company, a restaurant near our studio in Westchester, with Norm Bass.
Yeah, it's one of our first remote locations that we're just filming or doing an interview with.
Right in the middle of the restaurant.
Yeah, Norm is an incredible person that I had no idea about until you started talking to me about him.
Yeah, so he's he's 80, 81 years old, but Norm played professional baseball and football. He was the first African-American to do so, and then was run out of the game by severe arthritis, but reinvented himself much later in life as a Paralympian, winning a bronze medal in the Sydney Games. So he's an intense and a fun story. He's a fun guy.
Look forward to that interview, guys.
Finally, this Saturday, if anybody wants to be there, the Hank Gather statue at Loyola Marymount University will be dedicated on the campus. That starts at 4 o'clock, and there'll be a game honoring the 1990 team starting at 5.
And throwback jerseys.
Throwback jerseys. They'll honor the team at halftime. That 1990 team was one of the most electric times in sports, especially in our area. They made a run all the way to the Final 8. And so that'll be real exciting. And that precedes an interview with Wayne Boley, who was the lead attorney for Loyola Marymount in the Hank Gathers case. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll keep you up to speed on social media so you can follow us and join us whenever we are recording a story.
Make sure you subscribe, like, and follow us on all social media platforms. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Now it's time for an installment of As Time Goes By, where we get to know Carlos Haro Jr. of Casablanca Restaurant in Venice, 1 minute at a time. Remember, if you mention Sports Stories with Denny Lennon to either Carlos Sr. or Carlos Jr. while you dine at Casablanca, you get a free dessert. Now, let's play it again with Carlos Jr. Carlos, tell me, where were you born? What school did you go to before St. Mark? And also, I know sports are a big part of your life. So tell me how you were introduced to sports.
Sure. So I was born in Mexico, came in when I was 5 years old, and then I went to the Santa Monica Grant School, and then my mom worried that I was getting too much trouble. And she said, what better than put him in a Catholic school? Because that's what moms, Mexican moms think the Catholicism is going to take everything bad about you. So that's how I ended up at St. Mark's. My dad at an early age brought sports. So sports became really kind of like the link, I think like every father and son, it was the link. Like that was the one thing my dad would always have time. Let's go to the Dodger game. Let's go to the Laker game. In that time, that was kind of our link. So sports became the one thing I could always talk to my father about, and that. So then I ended up playing it, and then little by little, like, oh, okay, I really like being with guys, having a practice, having the regimen, and so that's why I still thought sports were really important, because it gave me like a kind of structure that I needed at that time. More than I think Catholicism did, it was the structure of sports that actually probably helped me out more than anything else.
Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is supported by the AAU. Find a local event and join at aausports.org. And remember, you can catch your favorite amateur sports live stream, replays, and highlights at ballertv.com. Sports Stories, along with East Bay, supports the Heroes Movement, a nonprofit that bridges the gap from mental or physical therapy to getting strong again through strength and conditioning workouts. This free service is available for any veteran of the United States Armed Forces. Visit heroesmovementusa.org for more information. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is a production of Sports Stories, Inc. and is available on Apple Podcasts and YouTube or wherever you listen and watch. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and give us a review. It really helps spread the word. You can find all our social media links, archives, and other info on our website at sportsstoriespodcast.com. Special thanks to the John R. Wooden Course and Wooden's Wisdom. Original music for Sports Stories is courtesy of Lennon Music Productions. Original images by Sienna Lennon Photography. Sports Stories is produced by Marley Rice, edited by Bob McCall, and researched by Theresa Dahlin. Additional staff include Christine Jimbo, Jake Downey, Ray Castro, and Buck Magic Lennon.
There's a new revolution going on. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon. A new episode every Thursday. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon.
Check it out, Buck.